YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and this is another video that I got to play against a viewer, and I appreciate him playing the game with me. It was a lot of fun, and I really think you all are going to enjoy this one. This is a Sparta versus Macedon on the Oracle of Amun map, and you're going to look at my Sparta army, and you're going to be like, got enough javelins there? I mean, 4 Tarentine cav, 2 skirmisher cav, 4 perioikoi peltast. Okay. This is a javelin spam, but to be honest, it was kind of by accident, and I don't know how powerful javelin spams are anyway, to be honest, and since they've been nerfed on their ammo a little. Whoa, getting a little spinny. Didn't realize my mouse was at the edge of its range. So let me introduce you to my Spartan army. It's pretty straightforward. I got Spartans and perioikoi. Just like any Spartan army. No, so I have a line of, I believe, and I don't normally bring 8 of the same unit, but when it comes to Sparta, the Spartan Hoplite's pretty much one of their only good units, so that's what I brought. And I even spent 1 point in upgrading quite a few of my Spartans, I believe 6 of them, because 1 upgrade takes them from 44 attack all the way to 47, and gives them a bump in melee defense and base morale as well, which 47 melee attack on a Hoplite unit is brutal. Very nice indeed. I have 48 on my Heroes of Sparta, but this unit looks freaking sweet. But it is a unit that's limited in number. Yeah, so I thought I picked 5 Citizen Cav, and then I realized it was 5 Tarentine Cav. Which is kind of a high armor, decent, or I say high armor for a Skirmisher Cav, and they have a decent shield for Skirmisher Cav. Their melee attack is a bit disappointing, but I was like, well, okay, I got 4 Missile Cav, we'll make it work. My opponent brought a sword army with Macedon, which honestly is probably pretty smart against Sparta. He's got 5 thorax swords, but he's brought a ton of skirmishers rather than more infantry. He's got 4 Rhodian slingers, also with 3 light peltast, and a royal peltast for his general. Not to be confused with an actual skirmisher unit, even though it's called a peltast. It's actually a high caliber sword unit. Well, it's pretty low caliber amongst high caliber sword units, but quite high caliber when compared to my Spartan hoplites. There's one big reason. So my Spartan hoplites have great attack and defense, morale, armor, fantastic stats. But there's something that's going to make a big difference in this fight. All of his men, swordsmen, have a 10 bonus versus infantry, whereas my Spartans have a 20 bonus versus cavalry, and they're going to have to engage infantry. So it means that his thorax swordsmen really have kind of a 49 attack when you compare it to my Spartans, so they're still going to be better in a head-on fight, but I'm hoping that numbers will work to my advantage. And I'm going to use my Skirmisher Cav to distract my opponent. So see, I've already got 2 Skirmisher Cav behind his lines. This has pulled his Thessalian Cav away from the fight. So if we look at that, you can see his Thessalian Cav here, which allows, it opens his flank to my Tarentine Cav. So you see how I can kind of create gaps. My Skirmisher Cav will keep kind of moving on its own. And again, Thessalian Cav chasing skirmishers, not a good idea. What he should have done here was quit focusing his Rhodian slingers on my Spartan hoplites and focused on my skirmishing cav, or at least to keep them outside of range. And that would have made me have to think about how to take this engagement a little more different. But yeah, I've got his cavalry pulled out all over the place, which is good. This is what I want. And over here, my Tarentine cav are actually getting some really nice kills on his Thessalians. So these guys do have enough ammunition to be annoying. It's not enough to just be downright deadly, but certainly enough to cause some disruption. So you can see me running away. And again, the idea here is that every time he follows my pressure, I'm going to bring pressure in from another direction. So again, see here, this is going to be where I bring pressure next. So this is my best way to use my, well, I should be bringing pressure here, I'm not. Anyway, I'm gonna do a mainline charge. Again, just set up an infantry line right here. My opponent's going to take this engagement. He should. Downhill engagement. Most of my Spartans have taken a few losses already to his skirmishers. He'll win. For the most part. It'll be Pyrrhic for his thorax swordsman, but he should win it. But see, I have 4 more infantry waiting in the background, 5 if you count my general. And my perioikoi peltast didn't do near as good as I'd hoped they would. I've been letting them fire at his thorax swords, and they haven't been having a great effect. And here, his Thessalian Cav just straight up catches my men. Not sure why. Bad skirmish function on Rome 2. Yep, see me here, gonna bring it. Oh, whoops. Gonna bring in some pressure now here, since this Cav had drawn him away, and then I'll bring that one back. And then I've got his, I'm harassing his Thessalians more here. Yeah, now you can see I'm using my perioikoi peltast to try and take down some of his light peltast. This is gonna be important for me because his light peltast could honestly destroy me pretty bad. And then here we go, Tarentine Cav into his skirmishers. It's not going to be strong enough to finish the job because my opponent has cavalry nearby to reinforce, and this is going to be brutal. The Thessalians will absolutely rip these guys apart. Try to escape, but it is far too late for that. But my Tarentines did good there, got over 100 kills. And then you see how he's got his cavalry out here and here. This now opens up the back door for my skirmisher cav. Now these guys are pretty weak, and they would probably even take some pretty bad damage to these light peltists, but again, it's just a way for me to disrupt and keep his light peltists from being effective. Nice downhill charge, actually, right there as well. And it forces his general to turn and fend me off. So getting a lot of kills here, 124 kills with this Tarentine cav. And my Perioikoi peltast are now out of ammo, but if you look at these guys, they have 40 melee defense, 50 armor, which is going to let them stay in a fight a little longer than most peltists. So I can now use them as flanking units at bait. They're not going to be very powerful, but look at the job done. So my opponent had kind of beat me on this flank, so I reinforced with several units here to keep his swords pinned. And this on my right flank, you can see that he's breaking through me right here. So I'm going to have to do some more reinforcing. I'm going to bring my general over. I don't want him to be getting hammered with slinger fire and stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and engage my general, so it'll be harder for my opponent to get damaging shots with this peltist. So the closer you can get your men to theirs in an engagement, it'll help a lot, unless they're on your flank. But you can see this extra pressure from my Spartans right here in this vicinity is breaking his thorax swords. So now there's a gap. And his Thessalian cav got bogged down in a whole bunch of my heavily armored Perioikoi peltast, who can then chop it down slowly because they don't have much melee defense. And again, look at my skirmisher cav still just kind of hovering back here, keeping his men busy and kind of making it harder for his units to do anything. And look, here comes another skirmisher cav charge. 64 kills on a pretty weak skirmisher cav. Heroes of Sparta. Look at them just like ramming their way through this thorax sword. These guys are very strong for a hoplite unit, but they're few in number, so that's something to be aware of. Plus, they still don't have a bonus versus infantry, but it is a brutal unit in the sense that it has 75 base morale and 95 armor. It's pretty heavy. There's my horse skirmishers running into the back of his mercenary Rhodians. And running horse skirmishers into the back of mercenary Rhodians is always a great way to go, because the Rhodians cost twice as much as a horse skirmisher. So whatever kills you get are generally worth it. And again, here you can see me getting beat down pretty hard by his Royal Peltist. Now, taking on Thorax Swordsmen with a unit of Spartan Hoplites, not such a dangerous engagement. Taking on a Royal Peltist with them, that's a dangerous engagement. I'm very scared of his Royal Peltist. I have no more missiles, and I have no heavy cavalry to hit it with, so I really need to surround it with my Spartan Hoplites. Here again, look, see skirmishers open all over the place, because I'm keeping his cavalry busy with other units. So here comes some Tarentine cav too that's also racked up 100 kills now. So these skirmisher cav actually ended up being very handy. They're just faster than his cavalry. He couldn't catch them. And throwing javelins weakened up his own cavalry a little, which eventually helps my men. And again, here, see how I just go ahead and brace my men? It's going to be a brutal charge, but just brace them and then click an attack order so I can start trying to tear down this Thessalian cav. It is a full unit that just trample charged me, so it is going to get a pretty fair number of kills. Got another skirmisher cav coming back in, but at this point I've killed all of my opponent's skirmishers, so if he would have kept any of those skirmishers, then I would have been in trouble. So kind of engaging my my own skirmisher cavalry, both Tarentine and skirmisher cavalry, one at a time into his units was definitely the way to go. And I had to sandwich his Royal Peltist over here to have any prayer. And even then, these Royal Peltists are giving these Spartans on this side, or actually this is a Perioikoi, or no, it's a Spartan Hoplite, yeah, they're giving them a brutal beatdown. I mean, just look at the number of kills climbing on this Royal Peltist, almost 200 kills, and against units that are fairly expensive, so these Royal Peltists have paid for themselves. It's just that his Thorax Swordsmen really couldn't pay for themselves very well. I mean, well, I guess technically they could pay 1 for 1, but the problem is that I had more infantry, so 1 for 1 isn't good enough for my opponent here. Not in an infantry fight. He spent a lot of money on skirmishers, and really needed those skirmishers to pay off, and they did not. So that's going to be an issue. Sorry, my virus program just popped up right in the middle of the replay. There we go. Yeah, so you can see my Spartans duking it out with what's left of his Royal Peltist here. It's kind of actually hard to make out who's who. Royal Peltist with the swords, of course. Duking it out with my Spartans. Let you all watch this. And you can see he actually routs another one of my Spartan Hoplites, but I still have that one there that's in pretty good shape that was attacking him from behind. So But yeah, I'll let you watch my Spartans finish duking it out with these Royal Peltists. It's definitely a fight of heavyweights. But the Royal Peltists are going to give way there. They just got outnumbered. Did a great job overall. And then his last unit of Thessalian Cav here is 248 kills. Unbelievable. Awesome. Well-used cavalry for my opponent, but it's going to go ahead and rout due to army losses. So a very tough fight indeed. And to be honest, an army that I accidentally chose, meant to bring citizens Cav instead of Tarentines. And only one of my Tarentine Cav, though, ended up kind of not being worth it. The others seem like they paid for themselves. 192 kills on one, 124 on another, 84 kills on one skirmisher Cav. So that seemed to work out very well. Periokoi Peltast, not doing bad on the three of them there, and then the one with 21 kills, not so great. But if you look at where my opponent did well, look at his infantry. Royal Peltast beasting up 277. Thorax Swordsman beasting up 132, 92 here, 107 here, 83 and 36 really kind of hurt my opponent there. He badly needed that. I'm guessing that this unit killed some skirmishers and maybe some of my cavalry. I don't know, because I know that he didn't get a lot of kills on my Spartans with any of his cavalry. I'm not even sure he really charged into him ever. I think what hurt him really bad is if you look at these light peltist and Rhodian slingers, this is a considerable investment there. That's 2,400 talents for the Rhodian slingers, and then another 12, probably 13 something. So, I mean, this is a third of his army cost right here, and it got very few kills, whereas his infantry did quite well. So his plan coming into the battle was to skirmish me. May have been expecting pikes from Sparta, may have been expecting me to bring Cretan archers. Not sure what he was expecting. But my army ended up working out here. It was a tough fight because had to go uphill there. My opponent took a good... I think, honestly, he took a fairly good engagement. It was downhill. The biggest problem is that he didn't get to use his skirmishers to their fullest. And again, it would have been difficult for him, but I think that pointing his Rhodian slingers, rather than at my Spartans, let your light peltist cover that. And then point your Rhodian slingers out at my... Tarentine and Skirmisher Cav to kind of keep them off. It would only take a few volleys for them to affect quite a lot of damage. It would be a little harder on the Tarentine Cav because of their armor, but the Skirmisher Cav would go down quite easy and may have saved him some of those kills that my guys were getting. Really fun battle. Appreciate my opponent playing with me. Fun matchup between Sparta and Macedon. Really enjoyed this one. Hope you all did too. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.